I'm Will Lockamy.
And I'm Reed Lockamy.
This is the Iron Bowl Hour.
Or as we like to call it, the show that has already booked all of its travel plans to Miami. Not really. We don't have budget for that.
Is it technically accurate for people to continue to refer to the Ole Miss football team as a football team?
Yes.
Really? Yeah. Now, Michael, do you find that maybe some football game goers on the weekends add some other stuff to this lemonade ever? Well, Reed, it's time for another edition of Agree to Disagree.
All right, Will, this week I'll agree, you disagree.
I don't think you understand it. We both have to disagree.
Oh, okay, we'll do that then.
Okay.
Being a college coach at a prominent program is a high-stress job, and some handle it better than others. Does the sideline behavior of many coaches set a bad example for student athletes and society at large?
Well, Reed, while I may not like the fact that some of these coaches are hotheads, I think maybe it's actually good for the game. If you look, most of the coaches that have really bad tempers and lose their minds constantly are the ones that are winning all the games.
Yeah, but Will, wasn't it you on this show last week that said that college football is getting to be too much like professional football and all this when we were talking about these neutral site games? And listen, this is not professional football. It's not just about winning games. It's supposed to, listen, what did Nick Saban say when he came back to coach in the college ranks after being in the NFL? He said he wanted to come back and he wanted to mold the players. Yeah. And that's the whole idea, is that you're supposed to be molding these young men into the types of adults that we want them to be. And I think some of these coaches are way too angry acting, and I don't think it's called for. Coaches don't have to be that way.
You're acting like this starts on the college level. Think about when we were kids, right? There was the baseball fields that we played on that had baseball and football. All of our coaches were just as nice as can be, and they encouraged us. We didn't win a game ever. Across the street, those were the fields where the coaches were really mean and they yelled at all the kids all the time, and they won state championships. Reed, what's important here?
Okay.
It's state championships.
All right, but Will, listen, you're right. State championships are what is important, right? And how many did I win in high school? None, because, true story, I stopped playing sports as I got out of middle school because I was tired of being a 13-year-old, right? Not even to my bar mitzvah yet. And I had these grown men who were just screaming at me on a regular basis. This is totally true. And so I said, you know what? Forget about it. I'm gonna take up golf or chess or oboe lessons or something like that.
I understand. I agree with you, a 13-year-old, but then when you get into college, Reed, you understand what you're getting into. Name some of the coaches you're worried about that are too hot-headed.
Listen, all right, the easiest one would be like a Will Muschamp, right, who's
winner.
Borderline lunar. He's not a winner right now in
He's
Florida.
He's building the program.
Right, you're maybe thinking when he becomes the Texas head coach, like, okay. So, all right, maybe Will Muschamp is a problem. Brian Kelly is definitely a problem. I can understand why that man is angry because he's having to be the coach of Notre Dame, right, and that certainly must be frustrating.
Right, but how did he get that job at Notre Dame? Because he was so successful at Cincinnati.
Well, that's fine. One way or another, every time I see him on the sidelines, it looks like his head is going to explode. Even a man who is very popular in this state, right, Nick Saban, who's obviously a fantastic coach and wins all these championships. But listen, Will, if I had a son, right, and I don't, so this is easy for me to say, if I had a son, I would want him to go to Tulane, and also I wouldn't want him to grow up to act quite the way Nick Saban does, spanking people, talking to the media in ways that are, really, a little bit condescending, it seems to me sometimes. And I don't think that that's the sort of molding that we ought to be doing for these young men.
Well, there's no question that I disagree with the way he talks to the media. It doesn't make sense for another human to talk that way to other humans, but you can't disagree with the way he's winning football games, Reed.
You're right. He's winning plenty of football games, but once again, I would argue that what's special about college football is it's not just about winning. It's also about, building these young men into adults. And listen, here's what I'm saying. Once again, if I had a son, I would want him to grow up not to act at all like Brian Kelly, right? Probably not even like Nick Saban, right, with the spanking, and certainly I'd want him to be taller than Terry Bowden. So I want these coaches to set a better example for our young men.
You need to really understand what's important in life, Reed. Winning football games and winning regional Emmys.
That's exactly right. In the wake of Auburn's respectable loss to the reigning ACC champion Clemson Tigers, there are legitimate questions to be raised about what this means for the rest of Auburn's season. Is Clemson the real deal, or is Auburn in for a very long season this year? How should Auburn fans interpret this game? Well, listen, here's the thing. the Big 10, right, or Big 13, I can't remember what it is
I think
right
it's down
now.
to the Big
It's
10.
a lot of teams. There's
Yeah.
an 11 in there somewhere.
Okay.
There are a lot of teams there, but they're by no means out of the conversation. Have they fallen on somewhat of hard times? Certainly,
Yes,
right?
most certainly.
Some of their biggest, programs that they've sort of relied on over the years. Penn State, obviously, in a tough time now. Ohio State trying to rebound from their problems with the sale of memorabilia, and they did a great job selling that,
Lots
by
of
the way.
tattoos,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but here's the thing. Let's not forget, this is also the conference that is home to other big programs who are doing a great job. Iowa State, for example. Let's not forget their massive victory over Oklahoma State last year.
I think they just barely won that game,
Yeah,
right?
they just big time won that game and knocked Oklahoma State out of the national championship race. So listen, it's a good conference.
Reed, unfortunately, we know what's happened to Penn State, so the
Yeah.
kids there are in a bad situation for a
Yeah.
while. They're not going to be winning any games
No.
for years to come. We saw what happened.
Lost to Ohio the other day.
Was that who it was?
No, Ohio.
I couldn't tell what middle school
Just
they were playing.
Ohio.
Yeah, so Penn State out of the question. Ohio State, Reed, even though they've got Urban Meyer, they looked good in week one. Still, that is a program that's going to have to rebound from a loss of scholarship, stuff like this. I think they're going to be out of the question for a
But,
while.
Will, you just-
Iowa State, like you mentioned, this
Yeah.
is the team that Gene Chizik could only go 5-19
but
with.
listen, as usual, you just made my argument for me. Ohio State has Urban Meyer, right?
Oh.
And they are going to be, listen, that's a team now under the guidance of Urban Meyer
Yeah.
who's going to do a great job in the Big Ten, a really crappy conference full of horrible teams. So my point is, Big Ten is a good conference. Ohio State's going to be in good shape.
Well, look, even though you just made my point, let's look at Urban Meyer, a guy who really doesn't do well under pressure, Reed. The guy has like heart palpitations each time his team doesn't do well.
Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that. You have some of the other coaches who've had heart attacks and things of that nature. The Michigan State coach, for example,
Right.
and sometimes those coaches are a little weak in the heart area. Okay, I'll give you that. That's fine. But let's not forget, Nebraska no longer a Big 12 team right now. They're in the Big 10. That's a Bo Pelini, also another very angry coach,
I
by
was
the
gonna
way.
say.
He's in good shape to take that program to the top, and they're going to compete with Ohio State. That is a conference that right now is a little bit down, but give them a year or two, and they're going to be right back into the BCS. Well, it won't be the BCS championship game, but they'll be in the championship game, losing to another school.
Yeah, and Nebraska may be their only hope at some point, but even that team I don't think is up to the caliber of an SEC.
No.
Unfortunately, the Big Ten is out of it.
No.
Reed, when we come back, the producers gave me lemons, and we're going to head to Auburn to Toomers Drugs to make lemonade. Reed, recently the crew and I took a trip down to Auburn, and we stopped by Toomers Drugs. I wanted to find out how they made that famous lemonade.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully you found out also how they make that famous toilet paper. It's famous.
I'm in Auburn, Alabama at Toomer's Corner. It's known for its trees and a drugstore. Of course, this drugstore is known more for its lemonade than its Levitra. We're gonna go inside and find out what's the big deal and what's the secret about this lemonade. Michael Overstreet, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So tell me, you're the head pharmacist here at Toomers Drugs?
No, actually, we no longer have a pharmacy in the store.
Oh, but originally this was a drugstore, correct?
Yes, in 1896 it did open up as a drugstore. Became a pharmacy in 1896, continued that all the way till 1996.
Oh, wow.
But the lemonade was always here, and ever since pretty much day one, it was one of the more popular items that we carried.
So Michael, how many of these lemons, these beautiful lemons, do you go through on a big game day?
Anywhere from 9 to 14,000 lemons.
What?
Yep.
Now, is it a secret where these lemons come from?
It all depends on who's growing them that time of the year.
Really?
We usually keep about 4 distributors, and pretty much it takes all 4 to keep enough lemons coming
Wow.
in to keep us going.
That's insane.
We've got the squeezer right here,
Okay.
our lemons right here, secret ingredient right here.
Oh boy. So tell me where to start.
All right, well, you just grab a lemon, you just make sure you cut it without losing any fingers, that's important.
Okay. Right down the middle.
Absolutely. Put them in the squeezer,
Okay.
just bring it down. And don't worry, you get way faster at this as time goes by.
2 full lemons or 1.5 lemons per?
Honestly, it varies by the lemon. You
Gotcha.
never know how much juice you're going to get out of a lemon.
Huh. Now this squeezer, is this original from 1896?
No, we go through about one of these a month, actually.
Really?
We wear out the gears pretty quick. Usually they say they have a lifetime guarantee,
Yeah.
and we burn through them.
Might want to talk to people at the company there.
We
See what-
have a couple of times, and we can't get them to honor a warranty on it because they say that we abuse them. Pour your lemon juice in there. Grab the secret ingredient here.
What's the secret ingredient smell like?
Wonderful. A little sweet. You can just about smell the Auburn spirit in that one. All right, then from here, All you got to do is add our special crushed ice and water, and you're ready to go.
So that's it. It's the secret ingredient and some lemons. Certain amount of each one. Maybe we won't say too much, and then just ice.
You got it.
All right, let's see what I got.
All right, see if we can get you one here.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Your cup.
So I already have one here, so I'll just do one more. Okay?
Yeah, I would say at least one more lemon.
No, I don't want to. How's that?
You're doing great. A little slow, but you're still doing great.
Okay. Okay.
A little bit more and you'll have it.
All right. Whoop. Lose a finger in that guy.
Yeah, very quickly. Add it to the cup. Try not to spill it.
Okay. And now time for the secret ingredient that only we know, Michael.
Absolutely. You and I.
Yep. All right. How much here?
Just the right amount. And we just take it over here, ice and water. And you are ready to go.
All right. Now, Michael, do you find that maybe some football game goers on the weekends add some other stuff to this lemonade ever?
Absolutely. We get requests all the time to leave a little bit off the top.
Really? You know what they're up to then?
Well, it's none of my business, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's great. Got to stir counterclockwise. It's important.
Oh, gotcha. There we go.
All right.
Part of our secret.
Absolutely. All right.
Cheers to you.
Cheers. Oh, that's good lemonade.
That is fantastic. Reed, do you have any guesses as to what the secret ingredient is in the lemonade?
I've got a guess. I'm thinking it's maybe tears.
Possibly last year. Yeah, I actually have no idea. They keep that secret pretty tight down there. It's ridiculous. After the break, we're going to go to the top of Vulcan with former Alabama player Roger Shutlz. It's time for rapid fire questions on the grill, brought to you by Billy's Bar and Grill, of course, with former Alabama player, Biggest Loser, and media mogul Roger Shutlz.
All right,
Fire away.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Who's the biggest loser out of the following? You losing weight on television, LSU losing the Honey Badger, Big Ten fans losing faith in their ability to compete for national titles, or Auburn?
I'd have to go with the Big Ten fans losing faith they're going to win a national championship.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
If Alabama had to pick just one of its mascots to stick with, which would you choose? Big Al, the Crimson Tide, or the Nick Saban statue?
Nick Saban statue,
Okay.
without a doubt.
A Birmingham radio station once ran a win a date with Roger Shutlz contest. How did that turn out?
I didn't go on the date because of NCAA violations. Actually, man, you know, everybody thinks that Antonio Langham got Alabama on probation, but it was me going out on a date with a girl with a boat.
The girl was so ugly, the NCAA was against it.
Yeah, but hey, listen, off air, I want to tell you a real good story about that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's the
Got to
secret?
do good research.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Will people be less interested in this year's Alabama LSU game now that we know that the outcome doesn't matter at all?
No, there's no interest in that game at all.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, I think we're just waiting for the national championship game.
Might as
Waiting for
well skip
USC.
There you go.
Can we just play those guys now?
Is it technically accurate for people to continue to refer to the Ole Miss football team as a football team?
Yes.
Yeah. Better mustache, Brian Van Gorder or Wilford Brimley?
Oh, Brimley. There's a family living in that mustache. And a lot of people have the porn stash. Nobody can grow that Brimley mustache. It has the tobacco stain and so full.
Some oatmeal in there.
Yeah, that thing is, you could live off a week in that.
All right, let's hop on the elevator. You
Let's
ready?
do it.
Let's go, guys.
Roger, you handled the elevator ride just like a pro.
Well, I've been on an elevator before.
You sure have.
You did a good job, made it all the way down to the ground. All right, so Roger, let's jump right into it. A lot of people are saying Alabama is going to win a national championship this season, and I'm just going to be honest, I don't think that's right. I see them possibly winning 2 by the end of the year. How do you see this season playing out?
Actually, we probably win one every week.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll have 12 before we actually play in the championship game. So we're
That's
double.
impressive feat.
Yeah.
No.
Like I said earlier, you know, I think the Alabama's game that they played this week against Michigan, a lot of hype going into it, playing a Heisman Trophy candidate, no longer a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Not anymore.
They're just happy he survived to play the next game. That was a great performance by Alabama, and I think a lot of people excited. You're starting to see a lot of the national people come on board, of course, ranked #1 in the coaches and AP poll. So
That's right.
Yeah.
by the way, something like I don't know how many times, 47 weeks they've been ranked number 1.
5 years in a row.
That's
5 years in a row, which
that's
is
the
a
first since Miami.
Yeah.
All right, so now to switch gears a little bit, though, on the other side of the state, we have Auburn, and I think an interesting situation last week that maybe you can comment on. Of course, Reese Dismukes, who's from your part of the world there in Spanish Fort.
Go to church together, believe
There
it or not.
you go. And, of course, he was suspended
We
for
drank
the
beer
game.
during church, did you? No.
Nice. It's not a Baptist church, it sounds like. So here he is. He's the center, and all of a sudden he's suspended. How tough is it to come in for the backup center, first game of the season on that kind of stage? How difficult is it to manage the offensive line as a center?
Well, I think it's very difficult because it happened a week before the event. So if it were a guy that was coming in that knew he was going to be the starting center,
right?
And now all of a sudden he's a guy that's reserved to being backup. He's not getting as many reps as a starter. Then all of a sudden a week before the game, boom, you're in there. And yeah, I think it makes a big difference.
And is there something to the relationship between the center and the quarterback, or is that, can you interchange people in and out and it doesn't matter?
I always used to say you could interchange, but there is a relation. There's a bond that goes with a center and a quarterback. And obviously it would be, Reese was that's a new quarterback for him.
Right,
it's not like he had Trotter and Mosley and Frazier. It's not like he had 3 sets of hands underneath him. He had 1 per game. But
That's right. Not during a game.
Yeah.
Health department's going to like the sound of that.
Yeah.
No. A Heisman Trophy has never been awarded to an interior lineman.
No,
and
it hasn't.
You hear a lot of people talk about how linemen don't get the credit that they really deserve. Tell people, what are people misunderstanding about the offensive line, that position, and why it's so important?
Well, I mean, it's you're the unsung hero. And I think, too, as you go on, as being a lineman that goes on in the real world and losing the biggest loser, you know how you're okay with second. Does that make sense? I mean,
Sure.
You don't always seek the spotlight because it's always somebody else who's going to get it. It's going to be a quarterback or a running back.
And you don't seem like a guy that wants to be in the spotlight.
No, I'm never on TV. I mean, I'm never. I got a bag. I had to pay you guys to get here.
He's a real
And you already ate the
wallflower.
sandwich. It's unbelievable.
That's right.
You guys, terrible.
Well, is it a complicated position to play? Because to me, a lot of times when I watch football, it looks like the whole job of the offensive lineman is just to stand in the way of other people. Is it
as
more
big as
complicated
possible.
than that?
No, it's really about that simple.
That's about that simple.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you gotta, it's a physical position. You have to be smart. There's things being changed all the time. And alignment, defenses line up differently. So there's got different schemes on how you block certain plays against certain defenses. And if they change and you got the same play, you gotta change your blocking scheme. I'll tell you what, one thing I think people would be surprised if they got to actually mic alignment is how much communication is going on up front. And you'll find that probably the best offensive lines are communicating a lot.
Oh, you're not just talking about smack talk between you and the defense.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Surely that goes on, though.
It does, I think, from the defensive side. The offensive guys are more cerebral and a little bit smarter and coy about what they're trying to do, and they let the defense, because I'm going to educate y'all.
Okay,
You
please do.
may have not known, this is called football education.
Okay, let me adjust my glasses.
Yes,
Here we
the
go.
closer you are to the ball on the offensive side, the smarter you are. And if you were to go to take IQs of most of the players, you'll find the center's the smartest. Quarterback's probably the second smartest. Guards are smart. Tackles are smart. As you get receivers, really not a hope for them. Now on defense, it's opposite. The closer you are to the ball on defense, the less intelligent you are. So a nose tackle is equivalent to a wide receiver in academics.
Yeah.
So safety would be equivalent to a center. So
There's a bell curve there.
Yes.
Some
Barrett
sort,
Jones
yeah.
has been smart and kind of dumb and then smart again. Now he's the smartest he's ever been.
exactly.
Nice.
I wasn't making that point to say that, but
Right.
now that you've pointed out, that's true. He's
That
as
is
smart
what
as he's
you
ever
said,
been.
yeah.
Because he is a graduate. I think he's working on his doctorate.
I know, right?
I mean, how can the guy graduate in 3 years and get a master's in another year and then goes, you know what, I'll just go get a doctorate.
Right.
Why not? What is the worst thing that has ever happened to you at the bottom of a pile in a football game?
5-on-2 wrestling technique. That's always tough on the bottom of a
Is
pile.
that's how many fingers or the okay?
5-on-2.
Interesting.
Gotcha,
okay.
Roger.
That is
Yeah.
wow. I was actually
Some-
just joking, but it turns out that is what it is.
Yeah,
It's
that is-
5-on-2.
That
Yes.
kind of stuff really happens in the bottom of the
It'll
pile.
happen.
Yeah.
And the worst those guys poking your eyes, I mean, that is definitely some
What do you say to a guy that's poking your eyes?
Quit poking my eye.
Quit poking my eyes.
Yeah.
All right,
And
let
then
me
you don't
ask
know who it is, and then you look up and it's your guard. You go, hey, I thought you were the second smartest guy on the team, and you're poking
Yeah.
my eyes.
He's further out from the
What's
ball.
wrong
yeah.
with you? You expect a receiver to do it, but not my
Roger
guard.
scooping my joke.
Yeah,
Well, Roger, thanks so much for hanging out. This has been
yeah,
fun.
it's great.
Up
Are we
next,
done?
yeah, well, unfortunately. But hey, stick around.
You
'cause
said
up,
this was going to be painful.
up next, it's time for the Wickles Pickles Picks of the Week.
Say that twice.
Well, Will, it's time for our Wickles Pickles Picks of the Week. Now, remember, this is a season-long competition between the two of us, and the way it works is every week we're going to pick the Alabama game and the Auburn game,
Gotcha.
and however many points we're off by in each game, we're going to accumulate those points. The lower the points each of us has, the better.
Odd enough, it's best to get 0.
That's like golf, right?
Gotcha.
The lower the score, the better. Now, last week you picked Alabama to win by 17. They won by 27. You picked up 10 there.
Nice.
You picked Auburn to win by 6. They lost by 7. You picked up 13 there. Your total through week 1 is 23 points.
Gotcha.
Right? I picked Alabama to win by 10 last week. Boy, they blew out Michigan instead,
Right.
so I picked up 17 there. But good news, I picked Clemson to win by 4, and they won by 7. I was only 3 off there. So I'm at 20, you're at 23. I'm beating you through week 1.
All right, I'm coming back, Reed.
Okay, time to look at this week's games. First up, Alabama versus Western Kentucky. How do you see this game?
We've got Alabama winning this, Reed.
Really?
Yeah,
That's, out
I
on a
know.
limb.
By 35 points.
Okay, I'm going to say Alabama will win as well, and I am going to conservatively say by 40 points.
Okay.
Okay?
And I've got Auburn going on the road, first game in the SEC on the road, losing to Mississippi State by 3.
Okay, I'm going to say, honestly, I want to say this will be a tie. I know we don't have ties in college football anymore, but here's what I'll say. I'll say Auburn versus the Mississippi State Cowbells. I'm going to say Auburn by 1 point.
By 1 point. Mm-hmm. Hard to see how that's even possible. I'm sure it is.
We'll see what happens. Now, we'll remember whoever loses this competition at the end of the season, what's going to happen to that person?
Well, actually, Reed, we have to go to Billy's Bar and Grill, and the chef there is going to make up the hottest wings possible, and one of us, whoever loses, has to eat a full plate of the hottest possible wings at Billy's. Reed, you know, over and over, they win best wings in town.
They do have good wings. I'm worried about these hot wings, though, Will, because I've got a tender tummy. We'll see how that turns out.
Well, that's all the time we have for the Wickles Pickle Picks of the Week.
Yeah, and don't forget, Will, a Wickle will tickle your taste buds just right.
And viewers at home, you don't forget that you can follow the Iron Bowl Hour on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all the Iron Bowl Hour, and you can catch our radio show, Oh Brother Radio, on Birmingham Mountain Radio every Thursday.
Yeah, now, Will, we got to get out of here. I have a Glamour Shots appointment coming up. So.
You're going to look beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
It's all the time we have for tonight on the Iron Bowl Hour. I'm Will Lockamy.
And I'm Reed Lockamy.
Roll Eagle, Reed.
And War Tide, Will.
The Iron Bowl Hour is brought to you by Wickles Pickles. Add an exciting new taste to everything from Thanksgiving dinner to Saturday sandwiches. A Wickles pickle will tickle your taste buds just right. And Vulcan Park and Museum, home to the world's largest cast iron statue. For more information, log on to www.visitvulcan.com.
He's not a jerk or anything like that, but someone could accidentally think that, possibly.
Well, look.
Accidentally, because he certainly isn't a jerk.
Here's the thing, Reed.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with the way he talks to the media.
Yeah.
Without question, I can't say
Sorry, there's no way to get out of that. There's no way to get out of it.